rare and balanced view on politics in today's world. Based on facts, born of rationality, common sense, and logic, providing context on today's events. This is American Perspective with Rick Thomas.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to American Perspective. I am your host, Rick. Oh my gosh, I missed you guys last night. And I'm sorry about it, but it happens sometimes. Unfortunately, I have been plagued my entire life with, let's call them, eye challenges. I mean, I get pink eye really easily. I scratch my eye really easily. Normally, as you can see, I'm wearing glasses tonight. So, normally I wear contacts, and I have ever since the 5th grade. And so, well, let's just say, in the military, I have a service-connected disability because of a detached retina and things like that. So I'm just constantly plagued with eye problems. And unfortunately, well, yesterday I tried powering through it during the day. And, I obviously, in my regular job, I work on a computer all day. And so I end up with, looking at computer screens and things like that. Most of the time I'm using dark backgrounds, which of course, dims the light that's coming from the screens. And, my peepers are defective. That's right. My unofficial producer chiming in over here. Anyway, so the thing about it is that when I'm here, you got to understand I'm broadcasting. When I'm broadcasting, I have 3 studio lights here. One to my right, one to my left, and one up above me. And while these guys are turned down, like way down, they're not up very high. They still are pretty bright. And the reason being, obviously, is I have to have definition between my, me and my background, which my background is, of course, as anybody knows who's been here for a long time, a green screen. And I do that for for particular reasons. 1, it's fun. And 2, it just allows me to vary things up a little bit. So you're not always looking at the same background. Well, unfortunately, yesterday, because of my day and everything, toward the end of the day, around 4 p.m., I ended up where I literally could not see. I had blurry vision, just like everybody else does. You have a dominant eye and a non-dominant eye. And unfortunately, thankfully, my non-dominant eye is the one that had the detached retina, and that one's already bad enough, but my dominant eye ended up getting the scratch yesterday. So I ended up to where everything was blurry. I would have been sitting here, like squinting and leaning and maybe not reading everything right and so on and so forth. And I just was like, okay, I'm done. I unfortunately can't go on tonight because I'd be, covering up and, I can't see. Well, that being said, that's why. There you go. Long story, a lot of detail, long story, but that's why I didn't broadcast last night. It happens, but hey, I'm coming back, and I'll be back in, hopefully full form by, well, at the very latest, the end of the week. Let's go ahead and, I don't know who you are, but, anyway, let's go ahead and move on. Tonight's pledge is none other than the good old outlaw dogs. Yes, my unofficial producer is like, you're gonna go. Anyway, all right. Let's go ahead and kick off Outlaw Dogs. She is, well, maybe in the green room. I don't know. But let's go ahead. And if you are of mine, please stand. Remove your hat if you're wearing one, like me. Place your hand over your heart and follow along with Outlaw Dogs as she recites the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. And of course, I thank you, Outlaw Dogs, for that wonderful rendition of the pledge. If you would like to hear your rendition of the pledge played here on the program, all you need to do is record yourself reciting or performing the pledge in your style. Take that audio file, video file, whatever kind of file, attach it to an email, and send it off to me. Send it to fans, F-A-N-S, at AmericanPerspective.online. That's fans, F-A-N-S, at AmericanPerspective.online, and I will get you into the rotation. I have 25 of these wonderful items. I need 26 for the end of 2026. That's my goal. I got one more to go. So if you haven't done yours, and of course are willing to have it, displayed in public, I guess. Ooh, that's scary. All you need to do is record yourself reciting or performing the pledge in your style. Take that audio file, video file, whatever kind of file, attach it to an email, and send it off to me. Send it to fans, F-A-N-S, at AmericanPerspective.online. That's fans, F-A-N-S, at AmericanPerspective.online. And I will get you into the rotation. If you do it on your phone, you can utilize the share option. So if you record on your phone, you press the share option, S-H-A-R-E, you'll get the opportunity to send it to fans, F-A-N-S, at AmericanPerspective.online. And I will get you into the rotation as quickly as possible. Quick note, unfortunately, it looks like Mark Kay, who was running for Congress in Florida, Mark Kay has apparently, according to reports, he is being defeated in the primary down there by 30 to 40 points. And, whatever you want to say about Mr. K, he does have a little bit. It was all the Patriots from Florida that really helped kind of kicked off this show here. So whatever you want to, however you feel about Mr. K, I can tell you that I do have a little bit of an appreciation between him and Jay Money Bowes, and of course, Hannah Guile, Hannah Banana Guile, for all that they did to kind of help this program out. So, there you go. All right, let's move on to tonight's headline sponsor, which is none other than, I can see my keys. Oh boy. That's the wrong one. Hold on. That's grabbing the wrong. Where is it? There it is. The American View. That's right. TheAmericanView.com is their website. The American View is the organization. They used to be known as the Institute on the Constitution, and they are no longer known as that. They have some new leadership, new, so on and so forth. But anyway, the American View, their mission has not changed. They still want to educate everyone about the wonderful documents in our historical founding, the places that we call home. It's an independent organization, educational organization, dedicated to the objective, textual, and historical study of the foundational documents of the United States, using a rigorous primary source methodology. Their mission is to examine the original context, personal correspondence, legal framework, and Judeo-Christian philosophical traditions that guided the framers during the creation of the U.S. Constitution and the Bill of Rights. You wonder why I held a Judeo-Christian? Because, it's so damn obvious. It kind of falls into tonight's topic. It's so damn obvious. The leftists can't wrap their head around it. Anyway, I digress. I'll get to that here in just a minute. Head on over to theamericanview.com and maybe take one of their courses to learn more about our historical founding and learn from the founders. Start your constitutional journey. Lesson 1 is free, by the way. All you have to do is go and sign up. First name, last name, email, and then click Get Lesson 1 free. This little button right here, the blue one. Click Get Lesson 1 for free. They'll send it directly to your inbox, your email inbox. Learn at your own pace from the nationally recognized 100% online course. And then when you're done with all of that, you can go and check out their other courses. You can also consider joining their community, be a donator or a sponsor, become a member, or better yet, pass on that knowledge that you have learned. Leave a legacy, restore the constitutional republic, and prepare the future by hosting a course in your community. That's right. Become an instructor. It's three, count them, 3 simple steps to do so. You can watch this video right here, how to become an IOTC instructor. It's actually how to become an American View instructor right here. And by the way, I've been hearing rumors that their instructor courses, they have an instructor, kind of like Train the Trainer, that they're putting together. They're going to go online to YouTube. I don't know why they're using YouTube and not Rumble, but whatever. Maybe they'll do both under encouragement. Anyway, you can go here and you can learn about the 3 steps to become an instructor, and then watch the 5 tips for a successful class. Make sure that you get your successful class put together. And also, don't forget to pick up the instructor kit. They have an instructor kit that is a structural approach to teaching the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, dispelling all of the myths perpetuated by the left and the mainstream media. It's detailed instructions for each lesson, has a host manual, meaning the instructor, the people, and also has a flash drive with all kinds of essential digital materials that you can use to, wow your class. All of this can be purchased in their store. You head on over to their shop. It's theamericanview.com/shop. You'll be able to pick up the U.S. Constitution course on the left, and then there are other educational resources that you may want to check out. Self-Evident Apparel, that's their clothing, and Self-Evident is the ministry organization that now is the part of the American View. Their other instructor materials are right here, and then, of course, my personal favorite, right above my head, right there, is none other than the Legacy Library. That's right, the Legacy Library has all kinds of leather items. Ooh, I love my leather. That's right. They have all kinds of things like the Declaration of Independence in leather wall hanging. The leather Bill of Rights. That's right. The leather Bill of Rights. Go and get that, man. Let me tell you. They have the Magna Carta. They have the U.S. Constitution in leather. But my personal favorite, and should be yours too, right here, is none other than the Constitution, leather-bound U.S. Constitution right here. It is pocket-sized, folks. You can stick it in your pocket. It's incredible. And remember, 3 Chevy says each purchase of the aforementioned rounded corner Saddleback leather book will cause a liberal to have various gastrointestinal dysfunctions. Give it to them on the next election day. Yeah, check this thing out. It's got 1/8 of an inch of Saddleback leather wrapped around pages that are water and tear resistant. No cheap glue here, folks. They're stitched. That's the stitching all the way through the leather and the pages contained within. It's got a 100-year warranty, man. How much longer can you get? It's got a 100-year warranty against materials and manufacturing defects, such that if you have a problem with this item, you can send it back to the manufacturer and they will either fix it or replace it for free. It is buddy tested, buddy approved, Billy tasted, Billy approved. My youngest whiskey warrior has confirmed that the information contained within will help you to achieve your civics badge in Scouts, also help you to achieve your civics exam, and that naturalization test. What other product will give you a 3-fer? Just saying. Head on over to theamericanview.com, go to their shop, go to their Legacy Library, and pick up your copy today. Hand it to your kids. It is a keepsake. It is a heirloom. There you go. Heirloom, and pass it on down generation to generation. It is a fantastic buy. I mean, when are you going to get something that lasts 100 years under warranty for under $20? I mean, let's just say it's under $20. Come on now. Especially with the way inflation is, man. Whew, it's under $20 to get something that'll last you 100 years to be able to pass down. That's a steal. That is a steal, folks. Seriously. All righty. Head on over to theamericanview.com. Find all of their products, and I thank them for being a longtime sponsor of this program. All right. Okay, let's talk real quick. We've got a lot of elections. Well, 3 election primaries are going on. I think it's Alaska, Florida, and one other state. I can't remember what it is. You're already hearing some of the stuff out of Florida. I guess Byron Donalds is getting up there and potentially winning. That's good. I like that guy. I think he's primarying for the governor, if I recall correctly, and he will make a great replacement, in my opinion, to Ron DeSantis, who is leaving office. He's being kicked out because of term limits, not because nobody likes him, but because of term limits. You know, I'm okay with Ron DeSantis. I think he jumped into 2024. I think he jumped into it a little early. I think he should have waited until 2028 and would have had just a fantastic shot to go as the president. Maybe he still does. I mean, there's a possibility, don't get me wrong, but there's a possibility that J.D. Vance decides that he does not want to run for the presidency, and so that would open the field up. But keep in mind, we have a huge bench, okay? The left, not so much. Us, yes, we have a fantastic bench. And I got to tell you, we got a lot of choices. A lot of choices. All right. Speaking of the midterms, though, we got to focus on the midterms. The 2028's coming, but we got to focus on the midterms. Speaking of the midterms, Harry Enton, well, he may not have the best news for the left. Take a listen.
California, the great state of California, with all those electoral votes. And you can see here the national vote margin, Dems need to win the House control. Well, under the current lines, right, the lines that are happening right now, they only would have to have won the national House popular vote by less than a point. So basically any win would have gotten them the House. But now with redistricting, look at this. The Democrats, in order to win back the House of Representatives, they have to win by anywhere from 3 all the way up to 4 percentage points. So Democrats can't just win by a little. They got to win by a lot to win back the House. On the other hand, what are we seeing in terms of the Senate that could make this scenario possibly happen, even if it isn't too likely?
Yeah. All right. Sorry about that. I didn't realize the closed captioning words kind of cut off up there. I apologize, but anyway. So there you go. Yeah. National vote margin. Dems need to win to win the House control. 3 to 4%. 3 to 4%. Yeah. So now keep in mind, I mean, polls are polls. They're like, licking your finger in the wind and hoping that it goes the right direction. Especially nowadays. How many polls have been wrong? Ever since, what's her name? The Wicked Witch of the West, or well, the Wicked Witch of the South. Hillary Clinton died on the vine, knowing that 98% chance of a win. Yeah, that didn't go over very well in Trump 1.0. So anyway, there you go. Anyway, we'll have to see. I mean, obviously, anything can happen. It's wide open right now. Seriously, it's wide open. I have no idea. So anyway. So yeah, Harry Enton is saying, oh no, because of the redistricting, they're now behind. They need to win by 3 to 4 percentage points. in order to make it all the way. Well, okay. We'll see if that actually happens. Now, there's one thing. Funny. Oh, it was amazing. All I had to do was show my driver's license. Yeah, isn't it amazing what happens when you need voter ID? Yeah. I'm sorry, they're really, really large. I don't know what happened. I pressed a weird button and I ended up with like really large chat setup. So anyway. So I apologize for that. It's not the usual size. I got to figure out how to take it down a notch, I guess. Oh, here we go. Wait a minute. Let me see if I can I? It doesn't say. Oh, well, I'll mess with it afterward, after the show. Okay. Whoops, wrong one. There we go. Sorry. Oh, the technical wonderful things that we have going on. Anyway. All right. Hey, you know what? This is live broadcasting. You guys get whatever. I mean, warts, blemishes, it's all here. I am not going to go through and like clean it all up. You get it all. Anyway, so let's talk about this thing. Have you ever noticed that leftists can't do anything that is either obvious or simple? Have you noticed that? I mean, seriously, leftists just cannot, for whatever reason, they cannot accept obvious and simple. Now, I prescribe very often. I prescribe to the KISS methodology. I try to do everything as simple as possible. You know, keep it simple, stupid. Well, apparently, if you're stupid, that doesn't work. You throw it out the window. And Occam's razor, which is the principle where if you are presented with two competing theories, that it's the simpler of the explanation that really needs to be preferred. In other words, always do it to the simple things. If you have competing theories, pick the easiest one. Pick the one that's the most simple. That is the most likely answer to everything. Now, for some reason, these leftists can't just seem to understand this. And you see it pervasive everywhere. Like, for an example, if you say, hey, skin color doesn't do anything to anybody, so don't bother categorizing people by skin color. The leftists, they have to categorize by skin color. They have to have their intersectionalities and their divisive, oh, you're gay and you're black? Oh, you need to be over in this box. What the heck does gay and being black have anything to do with, say, I don't know, your ability to do your job? Hardly anything. Okay? Hardly anything. But no, leftists are saying, no, we've got to, we need to really take a look at those things. Here's another one. Really simple, right? Hey, we have evidence. We have evidence that lowering taxes and removing regulations raises tax revenue, opens up business, makes things go faster and better. And by the way, also lowers inflation and makes it so that our lives, everybody's lives, is so much better for it. This has been proven. Argentina is the most recent example. Milei, he did it, and what happened? Oh my gosh, they're doing fantastic. Okay? Ronald Reagan did it. And others throughout throughout history have done it throughout the world. Every single time you cut taxes and cut regulation, okay, economy starts booming, people's lives get better, and it just happens. It creates jobs. The economic engine is, chugging away, and it opens up the floodgates for prosperity. Happens every single time. But no, the leftists. Well, we want the government to own everything. We want the government to tell you what you can do, when you can do it, how you can do it, for how long you can do it, and so on and so forth. No, I want to add complexity to my life. Here's another simplistic thing, and these leftists don't like it. The Constitution of the United States. If you sit down and read it, it's shorter than even a short novel. I mean, short story. Aesop's Fables, I think, might be a little bit shorter than this, but you can sit down and read this in probably like 15 minutes and understand everything that's in it, generally speaking, if you're, halfway coherent in the English language and English comprehension. But no, this is too simple. It's too simple to say, the right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Simple statement. It can't get any simpler. And no, the leftists are like, no. We're going to tell you what kind of arms you can carry. We're going to tell you that, no, you can't carry arms in a school ground. You can't carry arms in a doctor's office or a mall or God knows what. It's, hey, what part of can't, whatever. Leftists have to complicate everything. All right. I've done enough examples. Let's look at some real life stuff, okay? Here's a real life thing that's been happening for I don't know how many years, decades really, because it was actually Bill Clinton who put the temporary protected status and signed the current immigration laws into law. But there's this thing called temporary protected status. It is designed to allow groups of people, other nationalities, to come here to the United States when their country is no longer safe for them to live in for a temporary time, right? But no. See, Democrats seem to think that, well, temporary actually means permanent. And you don't need, by the way, for this temporary thing, you don't need any of this other stuff. You don't need to worry about being here legally, illegally, none of that other complications, even though you do need them. But temporary protected status was just that, temporary. It can be added anytime. It can be rescinded anytime. And all of that is done by none other than the president. Really pretty simple, right? But yet they fight every single time, like with the Haitians, who had it for something like, 15, 19 years, something like that. The Venezuelans, who had it for, quite some time, 10 years or more. That's not what temporary means. Temporary means exactly that, temporary. Well, here's yet another one. We just saw it just recently, the Somalians. Here's another one. And this judge got it right again. The TPS for El Salvador is set to expire on September 9th. The administration is expected not to renew it in light of Washington's friendly relation with the government down there. So the U.S. District Judge, his name is Brian Murphy, said today, we're going to lift this stay on the temporary protected status, which they shouldn't have been doing anyway. But he says, we're going to lift this stay. And for these people, they can go back to Ethiopia now. Yep. Exactly. That's the point. It's called temporary for a reason. It's called, temporary, meaning that it only applies for a small amount of time. It's not something that is meant to be permanent. It's not something that's meant to be continually ongoing and continually renewed. It's temporary. Pretty simple. Very simple. And considering the light of the Supreme Court decision, recent Supreme Court decision, where the court basically says, yeah, guess what? Yeah, the courts, you guys, the law was written, there is no judicial review. So because there's no judicial review, then we as the courts don't need to be getting involved. Which is pretty much exactly what happened here. He's like, well, the Supreme Court decision. Revocations, by the way, for TPSs have include, I already called out Somalia, Honduras, Afghanistan, Haiti, Yemen, Syria, South Sudan, Venezuela, and several other nations. So, I don't know how much more simple you can make it. Look, leftists, if you read the law, it says it in very plain language. The Secretary of State, through the President, that's another thing. Anyway, I don't want to go down the path. Anyway, the Secretary of State, through the President, makes the decision. Temporary protected status, that's it. Boom, it's done. They say yay, they say nay, they say, yeah, sometime, but not long. Whatever. It's all up to the executive branch. That's the way the law is written. Anyway. Well, here's another seemingly obvious, seemingly simple thing that the left can't seem to quite get. Guess what? There's this organization known as Immigration and Customs Enforcement. It came into play. It was used to be called, it was under the border protection, but I can't think of what they used to be called. Anyway, INS, Immigration Naturalization Services, things like that, I think. Anyway, these Democrats seem to think that, we're not supposed to, or we don't have to abide by the law. We don't have to abide by the fact that ICE is doing its job and that people are actually, going in, they're making money, of course, but that they're leasing property. And so we're going to threaten those people because they're doing their, we'll call it their civic duty, to essentially support the law enforcement apparatus of the immigration services in collecting all of these illegals. Well, pro-criminal Democrat Mayor Michelle Wu says, that's wrong, even though she's supposed to support and defend the rules and laws and Constitution and all that stuff. But she apparently is threatening any property owner who leases space to ICE. She plans to expose property owners who are cooperating with ICE. Now, why? I mean, it seems pretty simple to me. Immigration enforcement is a federal government responsibility, not necessarily a state one, although states can assist and should assist with ICE enforcement, especially given the supremacy clause. They aren't supposed to be sanctuary cities or sanctuary states or anything like that. And yet, this is exactly what they're doing, is they're trying to fight in as many ways as possible to keep the illegals here, to keep these people here when they're not supposed to be here. I mean, it's common sense and simple. You're here illegally. You need to go. That's it. You're here illegally. You need to leave. How much more simple can that get? But no, oh no, he's he's whatever. He's what was that? He's an illegal alien. He deserves to be here. No, he doesn't. He doesn't deserve to be here. The only people that deserve to be here, realistically, are the people who are born here. And even then, sometimes you could say that might be questionable. But anyway. Now here's another one. Another complicated Democrat. Spamberger. She has a sanctuary policy for her state, right? Well, this is where the problem comes into play. Virginia Governor Abigail Spamberger is now in the hot seat again. And again, I just point to Title 8, U.S. Code, Section 1324. Harboring illegal aliens when you know that they are illegal aliens. Just read it and figure it out. Anyway. Apparently, ICE deported a person. I'm not going to say his name. But they deported a person who apparently was arrested for sexually abusing his own daughter. Now, why would you want to keep that guy around? Okay. Apparently, he pleaded guilty to the charge involving a parent violating a child between the ages of 15 and 17. Now, this was reported by a local outlet that he was arrested multiple times over allegations that he groped his teenage daughter, tried to forcibly rape her, leaving the girl terrified that he would attack her again. Now, first of all, a real father doesn't do this. I'm just saying. A real father respects his daughter and his wife, too. But anyway, the guy was apparently sentenced to 5.5 years in prison, with 5 of those years suspended. What? Yeah. What? Yeah. Anyway, 6 months in prison for abusing his daughter. ICE says, okay, we're going to pick you up and you're out of here. Yeah, you're out of here. And so they're going to ship him off somewhere else. Well, apparently Spamberger wasn't too happy about that. Now, Spamberger, of course, has been criticized over illegal immigrant. Read that, illegal alien. Okay. Illegal alien crime in Virginia. And it just, to me, it would seem like, hey, you know what? This guy, okay, you have a law-abiding illegal alien. There is no such thing because they broke the law getting here. But if you want to make the argument that that's the only singular law that they have ever broken in their entire time being here, we can have that discussion and argument. You're going to lose because the fact of the matter is you either break a law or you don't break a law. When you come here without proper paperwork, you have broken a law. However, I digress all of that. They're trying to protect these idiots who are coming here and causing all kinds of problems. They're breaking our laws. They're doing harm to American people. In this case, this guy's doing it to his own daughter, which, oh my gosh, I mean, whatever. And yet these leftists, they can't understand the very simple process and the very simple concept. You came here outside of the law. You need to go back. Period. No passing go, no collecting 200. they can't grasp the obvious and the simplistic. They just can't. Well, you'll recall there was this guy by the name of Kilmar Abrego Garcia, and he became the darling of the left because apparently all he was one of those illegal aliens who's been here for, I don't know, 15, 20 years, whatever it is. And he was a Maryland father. Oh, yes, that's all he is. Forget the fact that he was illegal here for, good significant span of time. But he's an illegal alien. And then, of course, the water started trickling over the dam and through the dam. And it turns out that, well, he actually may have participated in human smuggling down in, I believe it's Tennessee. And, well, the court system helped him out and, got him out and so on and so forth. The courts, the judges, these stupid people who just can't understand the simplicity and the obvious of, hey, this guy's here illegally. He needs to go home. And anyway, apparently there are some new charges now. There are some new charges and new details that have been revealed by the Department of Justice about this guy. So, you'll recall he's an El Salvadoran. He has MS-13 ties, which is why he claimed that he could not go back to El Salvador, even though the gang that he reportedly stated he was in fear of his life from no longer exists. Anyway, he also has committed domestic abuse here. This quote-unquote innocent Maryland father is collapsing again by some of these details being revealed by the DOJ. So yeah. Anyway, now obviously this case revolves around that November 2021 traffic stop in Tennessee, in which Garcia, according to the brief, was driving a car owned by convicted human smuggler. And I'm not going to say who his name is. During the stop, Garcia called the guy, allegedly told the responding trooper that he was calling, quote, his boss, and that the car was actually registered to his boss. The guy who was the boss and got convicted told investigators that, Garcia's one of my drivers. Mm-hmm. Yep. So, there you go. Now, keep in mind that the license plate data showed that he had come from Texas. He was driving from St. Louis to Baltimore, but actually came from Texas. Had 9 passengers that he was transporting, but none of them had any luggage. There were no bags. There were no nothing. There was nothing. It was just people in the car. So, anyway. So, and this is all new information, by the way. All new information. Anyway. All right. Well, here's an obvious. Now, I subscribe also to the idea that correlation is not necessarily causation, but in this particular case, I think we got an argument here that we could say correlation actually does mean causation. And what am I talking about? Well, the numbers of refugees in America are going down. And what's the correlation? Well, the correlation is that in 2025, violent crime rates have also dropped. Now, again, you would look at a leftist and you would say, hey, that's a good thing. You know, I mean, maybe they're not correlated, but crime dropping, that's a good thing, right? Okay. And don't get me wrong, too, that also in 2025, the number of refugees being admitted to the United States has also plummeted, thanks to us getting a new president. But according to FBI Bureau data released on Friday and reviewed by the leftist outlet Axios, the U.S. violent crime rate plunged 9.7% just last year. Now, that's the largest annual drop since the FBI's been tracking it in 1936. Now, the FBI's 2025 report indicated that the post-pandemic declines in violent crime accelerated sharply just in the last year in communities of all sizes across the U.S. So that drop appeared to continue during the first half of this year as well, according to a separate Axios analysis of big cities' violent crime data found last week. Murder and non-negligent manslaughter dropped 18.1%. Robbery fell 18.5%. Rape, 7.6%. Aggravated assault, 7.2%. Meanwhile, the U.S. murder rate decreased 18.5%. So it's down now to like 4.1 per 100,000 residents, tying the 1955 and 1956 national estimates. So now keep in mind, these are estimates. These are, based on crime data. It's estimates. But now here's the correlating factor. Okay. Federal government has admitted only 10,258 refugees through the first 10 months of the fiscal year of 2026, which of course will end on September 30th. So that'll go up. Potentially that number will change, I should say. Now that is down from its entirety from 38,102 refugees in fiscal year 2025 and down from 100,034, which was in fiscal year of 2024. And just a note, President Biden was in office for part of fiscal year 2025 and all of fiscal 2024. So we see violent crime dropping about 10% and a dramatic drop in refugee numbers. Is that a coincidence? Probably not. Probably not. So remember that the borders were wide open under Biden. Many people were caught attempting entry. They were simply showed up at the border and then they were just let go into the country. No vetting, no question, no who the hell are you and why are you here? They just let them go in. So, now, keep in mind, we'll have to monitor this to actually see if the rates do stabilize at a certain percentage, which would indicate that the criminals who were already here pre-Biden are still here. But it's a definite interesting correlation that might have something to do with some causation, if you know what I mean. Again, simple, logical. Well, let's go to the simple and logical solution. You remember back in 2020, 2021, there was this significant event. It started in this place called Wuhan, China. Yeah. All of a sudden, people started getting sick from the flu virus. There happens to be a lab. Wuhan Institute of what? Virology. Okay, so they do viruses. They do virus testing, virus manipulation. They work with viruses. And all of a sudden, there's this new virus that shows up. And then this new virus, come to find out, people have grabbed its genome and they've looked at it and they go, you know what? There's this little sequence, this genome sequence that we don't see anywhere. We've never seen it in any kind of natural habitat. Not saying that it can't exist, but we've never seen it. The CGG-CGG combination. And well, that combination, ironically, also coincides with this thing that we do with viruses. What is that called? Oh, yes, gain-of-function research. Well, all of that got fed to this guy by the name of Anthony Fauci. Okay, 2019. Anyway, my apologies. Hey, see, that's what I'm telling you, man. My Whiskey Warrior P1's the smartest listening audience in the entire ethosphere right here. Anyway, 2019, 2020, whatever. And there's this guy. His name's Anthony Fauci. He's our top doctor virologist. And he goes, okay, let's see. Let me look at the obvious here. There's an institute in China called the Wuhan Institute of Virology. I paid for that institute to do gain-of-function research. The virus shows up with a indicator that indicates that it very well could have been lab modified with the combination of a genome that is literally for gain-of-function research. But it came from a wet market. Happened naturally. Yeah. Now, keep in mind, Occam's razor actually was developed by a guy who was in science who basically said that, hey, when you're presented with two theories, take the simpler one because that's the one that most likely is the one that's correct. Yeah, and it started in science. So, anyway. Yeah, but the leftists, oh, no. It couldn't have come from a lab. It just, the epicenter was from Wuhan. There's a institute there in Wuhan who does, virus, but I'm going over it again. All right. Oh, hey, you want to talk about obvious and simple? How about a election integrity measure, meaning a law, that goes before a governor? Who cares if the governor's a blue state governor, a red state governor, whether they're a Democrat or a Republican? Doesn't make any difference, really. But there's this measure, and it goes in front of this governor. And the measure basically says, hey, we would like to correlate, cross-reference things like federal databases to ensure that all of the people who are on our voter rolls are, one, still alive, two, actually American citizens, because there's this little thing known as the Constitution that says that only citizens can vote in federal elections. And, a couple of other things in order to go through and clean up our voter rolls. Yeah, election integrity. Let's restore the confidence in our elections process in the state of North Carolina. Yeah. The governor vetoed it late Monday afternoon. That's Democrat Governor Josh Stein vetoed it on Monday afternoon. Now, the voting period also, or the proposal would also change early in-person voting periods for primaries, primary runoffs, special elections down to 10 days rather than the initial 17. And so the bill also requires the use of the federal databases and information from other states to help remove, here it is, deceased voters from the rolls. And the state auditor's office would conduct post-election audits of county election systems at least once every 6 years. Now, this was all done by the General Assembly. All by the General Assembly. So the representative government created this law, as they should, the legislators did. And they presented it in front of the governor, and the governor goes, yeah, I don't like it. Veto. Even though it's all to help clean up things, make things simpler, make things, this is pretty obvious. You don't want dead people's names on voter rolls, right? No. Anyway. Again, they cannot do simple and obvious at all. At all. I don't even understand it. It just doesn't make sense to me. I can't quite grasp. Why do you want to make things more complicated? Why would you want to make things much more difficult? I mean, it's pretty simple that, for an example, you would use a picture ID to validate an individual that they are who they are. We use valid ID all the time. We use it to buy convenience items. We use it to buy medicine. We use it to identify who we are in case we're ever stopped by a police officer. We use it all the time. Why would you not want to use it for one of our most important civic duties? I mean, the other most important civic duty, which is jury duty, you have to produce it there to prove you are who you are. But no, voting? Nah, that's too complicated. These people, they just can't, they're so stupid they can't even grasp the simple and the obvious. Alrighty, folks, that is it for me for this evening. Do me a favor, if you haven't already, head on over to rumble.com, get yourself an account. It is free, and once you are signed up and signed in, make sure you search up the American Perspective channel and hit that green follow button to get notified every time that I go live. Also, too, don't forget to give me a thumbs up, a thumbs down, or, in the case of 3 Chevy, a thumb sideways, or at an angle. Across all my platforms, whether it's X, YouTube, Facebook, Rumble, and my new one, pilled.net. That's pilled, Pilled.net, where a thumb up is a red pill, a thumb down is a blue pill. Go figure. All right, we will see you tomorrow night for Whiskey Wednesday, and hopefully a pet of the week. Somebody gets here and gives me one, or if I get one myself. Anyway, we'll see you tomorrow night, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on American Perspective. Have a great rest of your evening, and good night, everybody.